Hey everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Recap, a guy's review. What a day, what a day. As you know, I posted the video of Chris Harrison being interviewed by Michael Strahan on Good Morning America. I asked you guys to call in, and boy, did you ever. I have phone calls from Nova Scotia to Mississippi, Beaverton, Oregon, all the way to Pakistan. Unbelievable for my humble little channel that you guys care so much to call in and voice your opinions. I'm gonna try to play all of them. At the end, there's a couple voicemails of people that are commenting that in 2017, The Bachelor filmed at a plantation. Now, we're gonna talk more about this and what this means and why no one else is addressing this, but I gotta get through the voicemails to get to that point. So let's jump right into our first voicemail from 9 a.m. today. Let's go to Mississippi.
Hi, it's Stephanie from Holly Springs, Mississippi. Just calling about Chris Harrison's interview. I don't necessarily think that he needs to be canceled. I need to hear more about what he's going to do in the future, but I don't think that interview did him any favors at all. I feel like we're in the same boat as we were before we watched it. Didn't really tell us anything, didn't get deep dive into it. It almost hurt him more. He needs to do something longer, explain more, talk to the coach he's been talking with. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Bye.
Thank you so much from Mississippi. Appreciate you, Stephanie. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that if he was going to do this interview, he should have had some sort of secondary form of interview, podcast, something ready to go so people can see the actions he's taken. Some people call that performative, but I don't see a world that isn't performative when it comes to social media. You have to show the actions that you're taking. Shay from St. Louis, your turn.
Hey Dave, this is Shay from St. Louis, and on your video about Chris Harrison's recent interview with Michael Strahan, I simply think that it's the same old, but I think he should keep his job. But since he has the power and influence of being an executive producer, I'll be looking forward to seeing what changes he implements in future editions of the Bachelor franchise, regardless if it's the Bachelorette, the Bachelor, or Paradise, to see if he will have actions around the words that he says. And like they say, it's all in the pudding. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
It's all in the pudding, and now I'm craving dessert. All right, good, great on you. Let's. So far, two people say don't cancel him, but keep an eye on what he needs to do moving forward.
Chris Harrison interview. Sorry, this is V from Virginia again.
Hey, V.
So in the Chris Harrison interview with Michael Strahan, I think what struck me was similarity to others. It seems very contrived and predictable. I'm not sure how anyone can truly understand whether he has learned anything. That's not to say that he hasn't, but it was very obvious that he's trying to maintain his message through the whole cancel versus counsel rhetoric. It didn't feel like his message was an apology about understanding the systemic racism. It felt more of a message about, please don't cancel me. I want to keep my job. Regardless of who was conducting the interview, Michael had a point about it feeling very surface. I do feel like Michael Strahan tried to throw some bones and he wasn't biting. Chris never explained whether he understood the depth of what an antebellum party was, why it was really wrong for him to have spoken over Rachel Lindsay, and not only because she was a woman, number one, but also because she's a Black woman trying to explain the history. He says he's going to do the work, but never explained what that work was. What we were looking for was something more in depth. Well, we understand you want your job back. It's still unclear if Chris Harrison, understood the microaggressions, the white-centeredness, the racial oppression, and the systemic racism. That's why he should honestly be looking at Rachel Kirkconnell, because we can all see that she is trying to learn through her second apology, and she didn't make it about anything else but her understanding of learning about systemic racism and how to overcome it. Thank you.
Hey, great point. I mean, that's the first one that says Chris Harrison needs to take a note from Rachel Kirkconnell and show what actions he's taking. Absolutely. Great points all around. Thank you so much for that call.
Hey, I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I just think that Chris Harrison's interview was kind of disappointing. Honestly, I don't think that he really meant what he said, and that was kind of hurtful, especially, like, I'm a white person, so that's I can't be offended by it, but I feel like he kind of didn't do a great job considering the harm that he did to the Black community, and I don't think that it was significant.
So kind of what you're saying is he went up to the plate, and he maybe didn't strike out, but he didn't do good. That was a bad analogy by me. He dropped the ball. All he had to do was catch the ball. All he had to do was deliver a well-coached interview, but you're saying you think he dropped the ball. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Hi, Dave. Hi, everyone. This is Gabby from Germany.
Germany.
Oh, my God. I just finished watching your video with Chris Harrison's interview, or should I say so-called interview. My God, I expected him to actually talk, not the interviewer talk. My God. Okay, it's all I can say. It's just I am really pissed right now. I really, really love the show, but this is going way too far. Well, I wish you a great day since here is already Thursday night. Oh, I gotta go. You said 30 seconds. Bye.
Thank you so much, Gabby from Germany. Really appreciate you, Gabby. Thanks for calling in. Look, it's not just the U.S. With our divide. Someone in Germany is watching going, what'd you guys do? Look, that interview was so produced. I can't blame Chris Harrison for the fact he didn't talk that much. I don't even know. Maybe he did. Maybe he did talk more. I have no idea. I can't make a judgment based on that interview because it's like I tell you guys not to judge the reality show itself unless you see it on tape, but there's just so many edits back and forth. I don't know what to believe.
Hi, I'm Christina, and I'm from Arkansas. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about the Ben Shapiro video that's on YouTube. He's not only showing light on what Chris Harrison did, but also Rachel Lindsay and Matt, the guy from the show that's doing the show, about how he said to give her grace and then backpedaled on it and broke up with her. Anyway, I was wanting to know if you would watch the video and let me know what you think about it. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Christina. So kind. Look, I wasn't going to play your voicemail because I didn't watch the video, but I didn't want it to sound like I'm avoiding watching the video. Let's just say it's on like the 38th thing on my list of things to do. I just Google searched Ben Shapiro, and now Google's going to be sending me all of Ben Shapiro's video. So thank you very much, Christina. You ruined my Google presence. No, but seriously, I don't know. I don't follow Ben Shapiro. I don't absorb too much of what he talks about. He a lot of times will latch onto a point and hammer that down and not look at the grand picture of things. A lot of people do that, and people that are very specifically talking about one issue, they'll pit it against others. There's a lot of nuance involved with this topic. So before even watching the Shapiro video, I'm going to assume he takes nuance, throws it out the window, and talks about logic. And logic's just not the way you progress moving forward. You know what I mean? Logic's the way you look at the Declaration of Independence. So anyways, that's obviously, like, I haven't watched the video, so I can't comment farther. But thank you so much for calling in. I will try to watch it and make a comment about it. Thank you. Jen from Kansas, how are you?
Hey, Dave. This is Jen from Kansas. So I was just watching your video and just watched Chris Harrison's interview, I guess. And I personally think he needs to go on higher learning. He needs to talk directly with Rachel again and talk with Van, hear them out, and just actually have a real conversation about what's happening. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for doing the good work and keeping us updated.
Yeah, absolutely. You say that Chris Harrison should go on Higher Learning, which is Rachel Lindsay's podcast she does with Van Lathan. I think that would be a good idea, but I also do think he needs to talk to other communities, other people within the Black community, and also educators, like you said, Dr. Dyson, and other people, Emmanuel Acho, other people, because Rachel, she's obviously in the mix, and while it was important for him to have the conversation with her, I think also get out of Bachelor and get a broader scope of what's going on. I think that would be good. But yeah, thank you so much for calling. Beaverton, Oregon, let's talk to Kate.
Hi, this is Kate from Beaverton, Oregon. I think Chris actually did speak from his heart in this interview. Or the Rachel interview. Like, he was saying things that Rachel said he said in private, and I feel like the Michael Strahan interview was completely disingenuous, and that it's just trying to save face.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. So you mixed it up at the beginning there. Oh, sorry, you mixed it up at the beginning there. You think he was speaking from his heart in the Rachel Lindsay interview, showing his true colors, and then in this Good Morning America interview, he wasn't sincere. Hey, that's a very common thought that people are saying. Absolutely. Shirley in Tennessee, how are you?
Hi, my name's Shirley from Tennessee. Just want to say that I love your content.
Thank you.
You're really great. But with Chris Harrison, I think that they don't want to release anything until AFR just to keep us on our toes. Well, good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, Shirley from Tennessee. You're the only 10 I see. Hey, folks, come on. Where are we? Let's do it. Real improv, folks. Took a Groundlings course. Didn't pass. All right, so funny because it's true. All right, folks. You got to make fun of yourself. If you're going to be shooting at the hip and firing at others like Taylor Nolan, take a note. You got to make fun of yourself first, okay? All right. Not that I'm giving you any permission to tweet any longer, Taylor. You've had your Twitter revoked. You got to go. Give us the password, Taylor. You got to go. Yeah, good points there all around. Look, that's the whole problem. That's what got him in the situation, right? They held on to the Rachel Kirkconnell story because they wanted to do it at the after final rose and make a bunch of money, so that way they can go back to advertisers and say, look, 25 seasons, we still got our fastball. Nothing declining here. Renew us for 2 more seasons. Everyone wants to keep their job. But, of course, that backfired horribly. Let's go back to Arkansas. A lot of love in Arkansas.
Hey, this is Darshawn calling from Arkansas. I want to make a comment about the Chris Harrison apology. One thing I don't understand is a lot of adults, we have a lot of thinking time, so I don't feel sorry for him. I believe he should step away from the show. It's just that time. And I want everybody to know one comment can make or break your influence or your business. You guys have a good day.
That is the most eloquent landing of a voicemail I've ever heard, Darshawn. Let me play that one more time. That's great advice.
No, one comment can make or break your influence or your business. You guys have a good day.
Now, I run the risk of wanting to disagree with you because I make about 2 hours of content a day, and I'm liable to say something that may not be exactly what I think and might come off wrong and this and that. But I do understand your point that when you're a public image, you're holding yourself to a higher standard. And just because you're protected by the freedom of speech, these issues, aren't protected. You're not protected from people's, response to your freedom of speech. Of course. What's important to me, though, is always that people get the full scope of what people mean when they say something. So words matter. But to me, that's why a video, like a full-on video, is more important than just words. Because I think what's important is to know his context, why he said, what he's thinking, what he's going through. We haven't really seen that yet. So while people have said, oh, he said this, he said that, he said woke police. Yeah, sure, but where's he coming from? What's the intention behind it all? Because if that to me is almost as important as the words themselves. We get very stuck on words, and I appreciate you, Darshawn. Absolutely. Everything you said is completely true. We get very stuck on words, but when it comes to wanting compassion and grace, something he didn't provide for Rachel Lindsay, it's important to look at someone and say, if this was my dad, how would I listen to him? Would I listen to his intent or just the words he's saying? Thanks for the call.
Hey, I'm calling from New Jersey. I'm calling about the whole Chris Harrison thing, his Good Morning America interview. I don't particularly think he needs to be fired. He has a lot of roles in the Bachelor franchise. I think we definitely need a new host. I don't think a lot of people want to even see him on our screens for a while. That apology was just absolute garbage. I mean, he basically, it wasn't even him. Someone else was basically telling him what to say, and he said it just basically saved face. So, keep your job, be a producer, whatever, do your thing behind the scenes, but the show needs a complete revamp, and that includes the host. So, yeah, we need a new host. The Bachelor needs a new host. I hope he's not on The Bachelorette. All right, thank you. Love watching your videos.
Thank you so much. Jersey, the Garden State, calling in from Jersey. I remember seeing a friend wear a T-shirt because I went to a school that had a lot of people from Jersey, and it said, Jersey girls aren't trash. Trash gets picked up. It's a joke, guys. It was just a joke. I think the Jersey girl was actually wearing it, the one that I saw. But anyway, folks, I love Jersey. Those turnpikes, beautiful. Some of the most sincere people come from Jersey. They tell you how it is. I got an Uncle Vinny. You get rid of the body. What do you need? All right, moving along, folks. You see, that was a joke, so it's different than a hateful tweet. All right, let's go to Jessica in Florida. So you said don't cancel Chris, but also cancel his job. So like partial cancel, behind the scenes, get him out of the face. What if they went with no host? What if they just cut Chris's airtime to like 1 minute down from 4?
Hey Dave, this is Jessica from Florida. This is the second time I'm calling. I just saw the interview with Chris Harris, and I just kind of feel like he obviously like wasn't really sincere, but not even that. Like, sure that he has like this role already of how to talk on camera, but I feel like he didn't include himself in it. Like, he didn't say like, wow, I can't believe I thought like that. Like, what was I thinking? It was more of like, oh, it's just horrendous and so sorry, Rachel Lindsay. It wasn't, I feel like he's just doing this because he has to do it in a way, but he really doesn't care. He's maybe like at home not even thinking about it, you know? It just feels like, yeah, Rachel K, I'm going to say it like that, she really was like, wow, what the hell was I thinking? Like, that's crazy. Now I read more about it, and oh my gosh, it's horrible. He was just like, he just kind of said everything that people wanted to hear, and that was it, but it didn't seem genuine at all. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jessica from Florida. You know, you're so right. Well, here's the thing with Chris Harrison is he's a showman. He's a host. He's media trained. We don't get that much emotion from him. Obviously, we got a little bit in the Rachel Lindsay interview, but it makes you wonder, like, is he remorseful? But also, if he starts to explain what his thought process was, will that come off as an excuse? You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like we wanted something, but we don't know what it is that we wanted, but we feel like we didn't get it. You know what I mean? Southern California, Sarah, how are you?
Hi, Dave. This is Sarah from Southern California. I just want to say that I don't think there's any reason the Bachelor franchise will ever let go of Chris Harrison, no matter how badly he's messed up. And also, I think one way that he can prove himself to all of America is hiring some people of color as executive producers, because none of this shit would have happened if it wasn't all white people at the top calling the shots, being blind to actual issues people of color face. So if you put people of color in charge, like, they're going to be able to see things that Chris Harrison is absolutely blind to because he's had this, white, rich privilege all of his life. Anyway, love the show. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you so much. You're absolutely right. It's about having diversity of thought, opinion, all across the board, both in production, pre-production, and post-production. Pre-production being the casting, the hiring, production, what sort of dates and airtime they get, and then post-production, what story are they going to tell? There's so much footage. They can decide what story they want to tell, and that's something they need to really think about moving forward.
Hey Dave, this is Amna. I'm calling all the way from Pakistan. I have been a Bachelor fan since childhood, and this whole thing is too much. I think Chris is going to be back for the Bachelorette. I think that's where they're pushing him to give all these interviews and stuff. I don't think he's going anywhere. It's very disappointing, and I really like your shows. Keep it up.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I didn't know anyone was watching in Pakistan, but I learn something new every day. I appreciate you calling. How do you watch? Is it like on the internet? How do you guys watch abroad? I know Finland called in, Helsinki called in. Do you guys just get this show online? Is it on Hulu? How do you do that? Let me know. I appreciate you calling in. And you're right. The fact that they're doing this interview right now, with a few weeks before the season ends, I think they're trying to dip their toes in the sand, because they're going to need to make a decision fast. They're about to film Bachelorette in a couple weeks. I won't spoil who the Bachelorette is, but if you watch yesterday's video, you'll get all the information.
Hello, I was just watching your interview about Michael Strahan and Chris Harris. It's offensive the way you speak of Michael, okay? It's offensive. And then when you showed the picture of the girl, Katie, but you got Rachel, you said, oh, Katie was beautiful, but there's Rachel. What's up? What's that? They're both black. I'm offended by that.
Katie's black? What Katie are you talking? I don't even know what you're talking about. Look, I'm going to show you guys something right here. This is or no, how do I show you? These are all the tabs I have open, okay? So what I do is, and again, I don't need to justify anything to you, but what I do is I go down the tabs and talk about things. But if I want to talk about this over here, I got to go to Ben Shapiro, then I got to go back to Michael Strahan or this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just a bloke in an office, okay? So I don't know what you're talking about. Katie's black. There is a black Katie, but that's not the one we're talking about here. We're talking about white. We're not even talking about a Katie. You said Katie. I don't know. Maybe you meant Kirk Connell. The way I looked at Michael Strahan, I don't know what you're talking about. Please provide me listen, for future accusations of my moral code, please just provide me with a time code so I could properly defend myself. I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, let's go. Next one up. And I'm not defensive. You have every right to your opinion. I just don't know what you're talking about. All right, Joan in Portland.
Hey, Dave. This is Joan up in Portland, Oregon.
Hi.
And I just watched your Michael Strahan interview with Chris Harrison. And I got to say, don't you remember seeing that photo of Rachel Lindsay having a grand old time on Nick Viall's season where he was slapping her ass in some parade in New Orleans? And she was having a fantastic time. And as you may or may not know, New Orleans was the slave trade capital of the United States in the 1800s. So in my opinion, Rachel Lindsay is a hypocrite.
Oh, I lost your voicemail there. Sorry, hold on. Sometimes it goes to sleep here. All right, let's finish you off.
In my opinion, I think she should be fired from Bachelor Nation. I side with Chris Harrison. That's the way it is.
I like that you go, he shouldn't be fired. She should be fired. You think I'm a jerk? You're a jerk. You think I'm crazy? You're crazy. Who are you to tell me? Who is any of us? Listen, Joan, Rachel Lindsay was part, and again, I could have this wrong, but she so it looks like she had a date with Nick Viall in New Orleans. I see nothing about their date. I mean, yeah, they're okay. Okay, we're talking about a Louisiana umbrella. Look, this is how it might go down for people. I'm playing voicemails listening to this for the first time. This is how it might go down for people where they go, oh, what's in your history? What's in your history? Oh, what did you do? And that's obviously going to get us to a place where an eye for an eye makes a whole world blind. I don't think Rachel Lindsay's doing anything. I think she's doing good work in calling things out, and she's not responsible for whether or not Chris Harrison gets canceled, okay? But she wasn't part of the date that went to a plantation. We'll talk about that in a minute when the voicemail comes.
Hi, Dave. Sarah from Central California.
Hi, Sarah.
I watched your video of Chris Harrison's apology. I think one thing we need to remember is that while Chris was wrong during his interview with Rachel Lindsay, and it would have been ideal for him to do a sit-down chat like Rachel Connell's apology, he's also strictly under contract by ABC, and I mean strictly. I can guarantee you that the interview was arranged by them for them to control and edit. He most likely had no say in the way the apology was to be released. And I know we're all adults and we can make our own moves. I think the Bachelor franchise told Rachel K to not speak on it, and she did anyways. But Chris Harrison also has to consider that the Bachelor franchise is his employer, and he's fighting for his job. So he probably was required by them to provide the apology this way in the interview with Michael Strahan. Not saying it's right or a good look, but he probably didn't have too much of an ultimate say. Okay, thanks for your content.
Sarah
Bye.
from Central California. That's a very smart angle to talk about, that Chris Harrison is under contract and doesn't have the choice to decide where or when or how he speaks out. Of course, they did the interview on Good Morning America because ABC with Synergy wants to go up and down the ABC, the ABC deck. So very interesting, and also could explain why they were holding on to the Rachel Kirkconnell story for after the final rose. I mean, I'm pretty sure, as you mentioned, I'm pretty sure Rachel Kirkconnell spoke out about this issue against their will, probably just guessing, calling their bluff, like, oh, let's see you sue me over this one, Very interesting stuff. Very interesting in a very, and maybe that's why this went down the way it did. And, only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Hi, Dave. I'm calling from South Carolina, and I will try to keep this brief. I watched the Chris Harrison interview and was really disappointed, like a lot of other people. And frankly, it wasn't even his tone that disappointed me. You're right. He is kind of a dry person. I'm not expecting tears or an emotional response, but I just think that his lack of information is what was disappointing. We talk about people doing, quote, the work when it comes to battling racism or battling their own racism. And instead of doing an apology tour, which first off is, a man of color, which just felt icky, use your platform to spread this information. You're learning new things. You have the privilege of hiring someone to teach you. That's great. Do an Instagram series. Put it up on your social media. Utilize your platform to spread what you're learning. That's what he can do to show that he really wants to change. That's the way that he can show that, is by utilizing his privileged platform to inform others of what he too is learning. That's all. Well, that's not all, but I thought I'd keep it brief. So thanks so much. Bye.
She's like, that's not all. I had more, but that's all I could get to. Listen, ABC should be taking notes here. You guys are giving great advice. Do an Instagram series. Just like Rachel Kirkconnell said, if you don't know what this is all about, go along with me on my journey. Make this an educational moment. As Chris had said, counsel, not cancel. By the way, whenever he heard counsel, not cancel, he was like, I'm going to write that one down. Counsel, not cancel. That's a good one. Can I steal that one? That's a good one. All right, back to Florida. What do you got over there, Florida?
Hey, Dave. Kristen from Florida here. Chris's Harrison's review fell flat because it wasn't genuine. It's hard to believe that one can go from mocking the woke police in an rant to being put together with all of the right words just a few weeks later. Those core beliefs deep down inside of him, they take time to change, and I call BS. Chris, tell us you're struggling to understand. Tell us you want to do better and you have a long way to go to unlearn all of the garbage you learned. Don't act like you suddenly get it. It's fake, we see it, and we aren't having it.
Wow. You very well said. Show us your struggles. Don't just say, oh, I got it. I understand. It's like when I get in a fight with my fiance. I know not to apologize right away. I want to be like, honey, I'm going to give this a few moments to think about it before we talk about, whatever. Because I know if I'm just like, sorry, babe, let's just move on. She'll be like, what are you sorry for? It's like, okay, let me just figure it out. Let me figure it out. Tell us you're figuring it out, Chris. Canada.
Hey, Dave. I'm a Black woman calling in from Canada.
Hi.
Racism is a thing here, too, by the way. A lot of people might think it isn't. So Chris Harrison's apology was pretty much what I expected from him in The Bachelor. He said he wasn't speaking from his heart during his interview with Rachel Lindsay, but I get the sense that he was speaking from his heart then and isn't now based on how specific he was in that interview versus how vague he was in this interview with Michael Strahan. And there are a lot of people that watched the first interview and agreed with Chris Harrison's point of view, so I'm going to need him to be specific and explain things like why a term like woke police is harmful and dismissive to people calling for real accountability. I'm also going to need him to explore why he had the privilege of believing that things pre-George Floyd and pre-2020 weren't looked at through the same lens. 2018 was basically yesterday. Black Lives Matter was a thing, and these conversations were already happening. And I'm personally not interested in hearing from him until he can have real and sincere conversations about this. And I don't think it's appropriate for him to be involved with The Bachelor until he can do that. And yeah, that's all. Bye.
Another great comment from somebody out there. Thank you so much. Canada coming in hot. You're absolutely right. Tell us why. Tell us, and again, you're not going to get this in a 5-minute interview. This is why it needs to be long form. But tell us why specifically you thought woke police was a thing that was an eye roll. And tell us, if you really didn't think there was a problem before 2018, just say, own those words, but explain why you felt that way. Oh, I was living in my BMW and I go straight to my gated community. And honestly, I don't check the news. So I really wasn't up on times. And this is why I've got these privileges, X, Y, and Z. Now I know, and here's how I'm learning. Boom, bingo, done. Come on, get the ball rolling. Let's get this going.
Hi, Dave. It's Courtney from South Carolina. Chris Harrison just wants his job back, and he did not believe he made a mistake. He just will say that to get his job back. Courtney out.
Courtney out. Courtney out. Thank you for that. Nova Scotia, how are you?
It's Erin calling from Nova Scotia in Canada.
Not the other Nova
Scotia? I think that there's definitely some value in the counsel concept. I think that if he can be counseled to a point of actual understanding and to being able to move forward and have the Black community be able to gain trust, then I think there's value in that because that may help to open the eyes of other individuals who may think in a similar way to the way he was thinking when he was making those comments in that interview. So I think, though I desire the cancel culture towards Chris Harrison right now, I do think that there's some value in the council concept, because I think sometimes white people hear white people and that's what they need. And hearing it from someone that they look at like a father figure, like a lot of people seem to look at Chris Harrison, might actually help make change happen. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Bye, Dave.
Thank you so much, Nova Scotia. I appreciate you. Listen, that's not wishful thinking at all. It's what I've been saying all along, that there's going to be people that want to boycott Bachelor if Chris Harrison's gone and all this. And it's like, look, maybe those are the people that need a flip in the way they're thinking. And what better than to hear it come truthfully from Chris Harrison? I mean, it's crazy to think that he could learn a lot from the way Rachel Kirkconnell did her 7.5-minute Instagram video. Now, there's more to be seen about that. It doesn't take anything away from the past, but where are you here and how are you moving forward? And Rachel Kirkconnell put on a lesson on how to address all of our issues without skirting around them. I'm sorry, but she did.
Okay, I had to redo this voicemail because I couldn't get my thoughts together. But yes, one, Chris Harrison looks like he was on a green screen background during that whole, whatever you even want to call it. I'm not calling it an interview. I'm calling it a dialogue. I feel like it's kind of hard for Chris to come off as genuine because of the fact that he said that he's basically a piece of white bread and nobody has ever seen him shed a single tear or like be like a normal person, because he has to put on this like face for the camera. He can't really be the center of attention, so nobody's ever really got him to see his like true self. So I feel like what people need to do is realize that yes, what Chris is doing at this point is just like, do we believe him? Do we put up with it or not? I feel like people just need to kind of give up, and not give up in the sense of like forgetting about anything ever happened, but start to just understand the fact that, he will change, he will do what he has to do, and if he doesn't change, then that's on him. But we as a society can't keep pressuring him to be this person that he might not be able to be for what we want. Okay, that's all I have to say. Sorry, it's over 30 seconds, yes. But okay, now that I have my thoughts together, now that I can hopefully actually speak, have a great day. Hopefully, you cannot be like receiving all these comments where they want you to go back to regular comedy. Insert slamming door sound. Bye.
I don't have the slamming doors on. But no, that's all. It's very rare when people say that. And most people understand that there's a time for comedy. I mean, I just made a funny video before this, and then I'm going to make another video about Dale's toes. And then if it's a real issue, we're going to give it the weight that it deserves. All right, let's go to, it looks like we have 3 more voicemails here.
Hi, Dave. I've never, ever in my whole lifetime think I would be ever making this call.
Thank you for
But
calling.
anyway, it is over the controversy over Chris Harrison and Lindsay. Anyway, I think you need to look at the 2017 season that Lindsay was on The Bachelor, that it was filmed, a portion of it was filmed on a plantation in New Orleans. And that kind of bothers me with production there. This has nothing to do with Chris Harrison. This is production, and they have not been called on the carpet on this. And I think that you need to look into it to see why, and you read the article about, and look up what the name of that plantation and read all about it. And it talks about it's the era, and they're going back to more or less celebrating the era of the antebellum. So I think you need to look at that. That's what production picked a place to go. And unfortunately, that has nothing to do with Chris Harrison picking them.
Oh, I lost it. Sorry. Hold on. We're on a roll. Keep going.
Anyway, I don't know why that's being ignored, and I think that you should address that and look into it yourself. It was season 2017, and it's a plantation in New Orleans, and to get on the plantation and listen to the description of it and what they say about it themselves on the plantation. I would appreciate that. That kind of bothers me because that comes from production, straight from the network and production. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that phone call. Listen, we can't look through the lens of 2017. I'm kidding. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This is from The Bachelor as they hyped up this episode. 10 bachelorettes join Nick for a thrill-a-thon as they visit an allegedly haunted plantation where a resident ghost makes her presence felt. A Fright Night delight brings Nick and 10 women together for an evening of thrills at a majestic plantation which supposedly is haunted by a resident ghost, May, who comes out to play. Who will be able to swallow their fears to capture the group date rose? So obviously this wasn't themed at like a plantation themed ball, but it was at a plantation. Okay. So obviously and I'm not defending it, but this is new information to me. We're going to have to understand and let smarter people than myself kind of sort of pick this apart. Reality Steve reports that the girls who go on the scary and historical group date include Vanessa, Josephine, Christina, Daniel M, Daniel L, Jamie, Raven, Alexis, Whitney, and Jasmine. And according to Steve, all the girls stayed over at the mansion in sleeping bags. They even told ghost stories and played with a Ouija board. Why wasn't Rachel Lindsay on the date? Rachel Lindsay was in the season. Why wasn't she on the date? Wrong Rachel. See, I did it again. Oh my gosh, God forbid. Here I go. Sorry, where's this one? No, okay. There it is. Why wasn't she on the date? Was it probably just, my guess is there was no conspiracy behind it. It was just a random choice. She obviously got that one-on-one date, which I think there it is, when they were in Louisiana. So yeah, let's talk about it. Maybe she was upset. Maybe she was on a contract not to talk about it. It's something worth discussing if we're gonna talk about plantations and why they thought it wasn't a big deal even in 2017. The Humas House is also historically important because under owner John Burnside in the 1850s and 60s, it was the center of the largest slaveholding in Louisiana. With over 800 slaves, it represented the largest economic unit in the prevailing slave economy of the state's pre-Civil War period. Well, there you have it, folks. Information just always coming out. Thank you for sharing that with me, and we're going to have to, I'm going to hold off on judgment until I know more about this, of course, but it doesn't look great. I'll put it that way. So thank you so much for the phone call. I really appreciate it.
Dave, I'm from Texas. I called you just a few minutes ago to remind y'all about the season 2017 that Rachel was on that was filmed in New Orleans on a plantation. What I'm curious to know about is why that was not an issue back in 2017.
Right. That's the question that we have to ask. Why wasn't it an issue in 2017? And that's what we're going to find out. Maybe this will catch some momentum and people will be able to discuss this with us. But as far as we know right now, I'm not really sure.
Hi, I'm calling from Northern California, and I'm not going to say my name.
No worries.
I am queer and I am disabled. So I have my own, communities and isms and prejudice against me. I know that this time it's really important to be focused on racism. And honestly, I am excited that Chris isn't doing well. And I am so grateful for Rachel Kirknell, because there are so many people who don't know, including myself, who don't know how to get educated, how to be anti-racist. And putting them in the hot seat, putting Chris on an even hotter seat, will force him to at least pretend that he's doing the work. And even if he pretends that he's doing the work, then I do believe that thousands of other people could actually do the real work. And this could create real change, whether or not Chris Harrison is telling the truth or faking it or not. Have a nice day. I really liked your shirt today, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Good look.
I think you meant my earlier shirt. It was cold this morning, so I had to put a flannel on. I don't think you like this shirt, but thank you so much. And I think to summarize what you're saying, if you don't mind, even if it's just performative, it's the type of PR that's needed to get people to pay attention to the issues. Would that make sense? Let's see. Here we go. I think we have the last one.
Hey, I just left a message, and I was thinking, I'm actually going to say my name.
Great.
My name is Harriet.
Hi,
I'm
Harriet.
52 years old. I live in Northern California, and I don't know how to do the work on my own. And I think there are tens of thousands of people who don't know how to do the work on their own.
Millions.
So the more people screw up and the more people who are held accountable, the better it is for all the rest of us who don't know how to do the work, who don't know the difference between racism and being actively anti-racist. I didn't even know that. I didn't know the difference. I didn't even know the term actively anti-racist until 5 days ago. And so all of us are learning. The more people screw up, the better it is for the rest of us who need to learn and grow and become actively anti-racist, which I now know is a term and which I now know is very different from just thinking that I am not racist. And I've realized from Rachel that I have huge amounts of subconscious bias. And I would not have known that without Rachel. There are things that I wouldn't have known about myself if Chris didn't screw up so badly. So let him screw up.
Thank you so much. That is Harriet calling from Northern California. Harriet, thanks for sharing your name. No one asked you. You can all remain anonymous. I just like to know who I'm talking to, where you're calling from, and all that jazz. But absolutely, very well said. And I think the idea is like if you screw up, that it's okay. That it's okay to learn. Have a growth mindset. A dangerous place is a fixed mindset when you think you know everything. Taylor Nolan, I think she thought she was a know-it-all, and that's a dangerous place to be. Just understand you can be wrong. I want to end this on an apology voicemail that I got actually a couple of days ago. It's about something a little different, but I've been getting a caller call in from Texas.
You cut the crap.
Named Karen, and there's a bunch of Karens. We got a lot of Karens out there, and someone called in, and I wanted to play this caller from Myra in Massachusetts. We'll end on this one.
David, this is Myra from Massachusetts. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that there were so many Karens that called.
Lots of Karens.
I just heard 2 Karens. So whoever the one was that said that about Black people was very wrong. So I'm sorry I made that mistake. And I really hope that you will forgive me and that all the people watching the video will forgive me. And again, I'm so sorry. Bye.
Hey, Myra, no big deal. NBD, you were operating with the information you had. You heard me critiquing Karen, and you thought it was someone else. You had misleading information, and maybe that's on me. I mean, I only use people's first names, so I could see that being confusing. Look, Myra, no big deal. That's a great example of how we can just learn with the information we have. Because as I always say, everybody, for the most part, even judging not a couple psychopaths out there, but everybody's trying the best they can do with the information they have. Sometimes when they're short on information, they piece it together in a fear-based way, and that comes off ignorant and or racist. We're all trying the best with the info we can have, and the best we can do is share it. Thank you guys so much for calling in. Y'all were amazing. It's humbling to even think people are calling into my channel. I appreciate it. Hit the like button, bump the Harrison on top of that like button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm going to be going live at 4 p.m. today. We're going to keep on talking about everything Bachelor related, but I wanted to sort of piece together all these voicemails. I was taking notes for who thinks Chris should be canceled or not canceled. It sounds like most people want him to take the time to learn, but are giving him the benefit of the doubt. And then maybe he can teach others as he learns. And even if he doesn't officially believe what he's saying, maybe he can still help other people. We'll have to see how it all plays out. We'll see you guys in a little while at the 4 p.m. live stream. Thanks again, everybody. Bye now.